great, but I can tell you there's no echo. There's
not tinny.
Not well.
It's a little tinny.
A little tinny, but that's all right.
We'll fix it.
Are you hearing background noise because of your fan?
Oh, I mean the fan probably, but I ain't turning the fan off because it's hot in this bitch.
Yeah.
As Lane reaches for his fan to go. Oh
Speaking
yeah.
of fan,
Feel better?
It's genius.
Feel better now?
Yes. You said that, and I was like, oh, wait, I have a fan.
yes.
Okay.
We have all the video feeds.
Except for Will's.
Why don't... Oh, it turned off again. This camera is going to piss me off. Will, you're going to get a flashy red light this episode. I'm sorry, buddy. Nothing I can do.
Where's it going to be?
It's going to be, like, about right here-ish.
Right here?
Yeah, a little bit
right
over.
there. Yeah, right where your head is. Good job.
Yeah.
You grabbed it.
Did I?
I'm proud of you.
All right. What do we do? Are we recording? For
We are.
fuck's sake?
We are now. We have been.
Nice.
Okay.
We have been. Yes.
All right. Well, good. Here we are.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're there.
You know,
We're back.
today hasn't been like a bad day, but no part of it has been easy.
Right.
It hasn't been a
It's
smooth
been lengthy.
day.
Yeah, it's been hard to get to everything, right? Like nothing was easy.
That's fair. That's
Cables were like 3 stops, and some of them were more, and then a drive back home and back, and equipment, and trips to Reno. It was stupid. Okay,
Speaking.
wait a minute. Before we get into this too far, right?
Right.
Traffic laws. Not so much traffic laws as like traffic procedure. So,
Oh, gosh.
if you're merging into traffic on a highway or a freeway, like on an on-ramp,
Yes.
You're on the on-ramp.
yeah, what's your responsibility?
To be up to speed.
Well, not just be up to speed, but to gauge the speed of travel of the vehicles already on the highway.
Yes, to adjust your speed to traffic, to the flow of traffic
Right.
where you're entering.
Right.
Which means the job of the people in traffic is to maintain speed.
Or move the fuck out
Yes.
the way.
Yeah, so I was coming over Spooner, right? And where 28 from Incline Village kicks in.
Right.
I watch as like 4 people merge through there and then just push someone out of the way. Don't adjust their speed at all. Don't try and proper merge. Just push the drivers out of their way, like into the next lane over. But it doesn't make any sense to me in Nevada. The same state where like every 4-way stop sign is a fucking Canadian apology. You go. No, you go. No, you go. How about we just figure out who got there first and that person goes?
So essentially, yes, you're absolutely correct. What I was taught for driving is that if you got there first, you have the right of way. If you got there first and somebody was on your left, you still have the right of way.
No, it's the person to your right.
No,
Right. If somebody's on my left, I have the right of way
Yeah,
If-
because you're on the
No,
right.
no.
because I'm on the right.
Yeah.
the person that gets there first always has the right of way.
But unless you
If-
get there at the same time as someone, then the person on the right goes.
Yes.
Yes.
If you get there at the same time, the person on the right goes. And if all people show up at the same time, then you end up with the same situation you get in Nevada, where everyone's like, you, no, it's you, no, it's you. Like, it would be so much more efficient if people would just act.
I know the solution to that one. If 4 people get there at the exact same time,
Yep.
you go.
Yeah.
Because you're going to defer to the right?
And the guy on the right,
And he's going to defer all the way around to you. You have made the initial go, which means it just falls on you to be the first person to move if 4 people arrive at the same time.
Whoever thinks of it first.
Exactly.
That's a brilliant way to approach it.
I've thought about that question since I was 16 when it was first asked to me, and I was like, clearly you're the one who goes if you initiate the fucking hey after you, and everyone says no, it's going to come back to you. Guess what? I initiated. I fucking go.
I'm just going in this state because everyone's just going to F around.
All right, Mad Max.
Yeah. It's just more efficient.
I'm
Oh my
just
God.
gonna-
No
Will-
fucks given to the
Will,
Thunderdome.
what am I smoking? It's an Oliva V, but what is this shape?
I don't know the name of the shape.
Let's
I
see.
really don't.
Barracuda Bazooka. Oliva V.
I know it's the 1868.
Okay. I've never seen this shape before in a cigar.
1868.
Yeah. Well, it's an inverted Solomon, right?
No,
No, it's
In-
100% not.
Inverted.
No, because the Solomon starts small, gets big, and then gets small again.
yeah. That means the cigar would look like an hourglass if it was inverted.
I don't. Okay. I never really looked that hard at a Solomon eyes. Oh
It's
well.
It's just like let's make the end small for no particular
Well,
reason.
You want
It's-
some flashcards? That,
It's like a
show-
reverse torpedo.
Yes. Sure.
I don't know
Well,
what it is.
that's Bellicosa then, isn't it?
No,
No.
I don't know what it is.
Bellicosa has a round cap.
It's normal, like for 80% of the cigar, and then on the light end it tapers down, but it's long.
Yeah, I thought that was Bellicosa.
It's like a little cannon. That's what it looks like. It looks like a cannon. Maybe that's why it's 1863. Something to do with cannons. I don't know. What are you guys smoking? I know what you're smoking.
What am I smoking?
The Melanio Maduro.
Oh, I still have that Chillin' Moose.
Shady Moose.
Shady Moose.
Chillin' Moose.
Shady Moose.
Chillin'.
I can literally see the box top behind your head.
But Chillin' Moose is the name of the cigar
Okay.
from Shady Moose.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, it's the don't question them. I'm gonna buy more of these. They're pretty good. At what we pay for the box, like
I love
it's
the box
stupid.
top.
The
It's
box top is
fantastic.
fantastic too. Yeah, there's a red
Oh.
one, and I think there's a blue one. So
You know,
we're
let's
gonna,
get the colors.
We're gonna get the set.
They're doing the Camacho thing.
Yeah, I want to get those knuckle sandwiches too, but
Who's Knuckle Sandwich?
that's the Guy Fieri cigar.
Oh, dude.
I just want it for the box.
You know what I almost bought you today in Reno? Instead of that Monty? They had the Jeremy Piven collection.
Like, is it like Entourage?
No, I mean, there's nothing on Entourage about the box. It just says Jeremy Piven Limited. It's like, Casey needs that.
I would smoke. I'll try it. I'll try any celebrity endorsed cigar once.
Most of the time, only once.
Because there cannot be as bad as ever Ray Lewis, Gary Sheffield cigars. So
Those were terrible. I'm sorry, Rocky. They were terrible.
don't apologize. He needs to apologize for us for making that shit.
Oh, my God.
You know,
Do you remember walking up?
Somebody liked them.
Yeah, the celebrities. Do you remember walking up to his booth at the Big Smoke and seeing Gary Sheffield giving out Gary Sheffield cigars?
Yes.
And being like, can we skip this booth?
Yes.
Yeah.
I also remember Gary Sheffield wasn't that big.
No, it wasn't that big. Didn't Rocky give us something else, though?
We got Private Cellars.
Yeah.
Or Private Cellar Reserve. It's a dark purple band.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's also fucking terrible.
It was better than the Sheffield cigar.
But it did help wash the taste of the Sheffield cigar out of your mouth.
I mean, I could smoke it.
Yes.
I like the Melanio, but it smokes so fast for me. I don't know why.
It's been a while since I've had a Melanio. So
I think they're fantastic. They just don't last very long.
No, they're great cigars. But
Anyway, whiskeys. We've got some whiskeys. They're pretty good ones today.
Well, one smelled really good.
Oh, yeah. So we've got, have you started nosing them?
I was smelling A.
So we have, in some order, the Stag Batch 18. So the first year they took Junior off the Stag bottle. The
Stag.
Jack Daniels
barrel.
single barrel proof. So the gold label single barrel.
Wait,
It's not a store pick though.
so there's a Jack Daniels in here?
There's a
Yes.
Jack Daniels in there.
Is the Jack Daniels going to smell like banana bread?
There might be some banana in the Jack.
Cool. I found the Jack Daniels then.
Yeah. And then the third one is Russell's 13, which is also one of those like really hard to find most places, like really good.
Russell's 13, huh? Mm-hmm. You know where you probably never find it?
Where's that?
China.
I think the stag is living at
The
like
Chinese don't like the number 13,
yeah.
so they'll never have it for sale. It's bad
Okay,
luck.
Okay.
I
One
think
market off the books.
The stag is living at like 130 proof. I think the Jack Daniels is living at like 124, 124.7 maybe. And I don't know the Russell's 13. I didn't.
These smell
So-
fantastic.
So does that mean that the Stag batch that's 130 proof, does that fall into the same category as Jack Daniels or the Russell? Actually, the Russell Reserve being 13 because there's a 1 and 3 in the number. Never mind.
I saw where you were going with that. You're reaching.
Am I reaching?
You're reaching real hard there, Jack. But yeah, I saw what you tried to do.
Yeah.
And
You never know.
No,
it's
I
kinda
appreciate
like
it.
They don't do 8s, or they like 8s.
All right, I gotta start tasting these
I'm gonna try
So-
C.
after cigars. Have you tried A and B already?
No, I'm just gonna start with C
Okay. Okay,
because I'm pretty sure I know which one A is.
that's fair.
Let's see.
Oh, that's not offensive at all. That's
See?
delicious. C is
So,
C is good. I like that actually. Ooh, oh, little warm. There it is.
so we were talking earlier about shadow court decisions, and this shadow court has
Shadow docket decisions
Shadow-
by the
Shadow
Supreme
docket.
Court.
Okay.
I was like, Shadow Court sounds like some.
It's a Supreme Court shadow something docket.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You're talking about the two-way thing on the Illinois magazine ban,
Correct.
assault rifle ban.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what it is a stay. So they passed a law. They were sued. Federal court said it's constitutional. Went up to the Seventh Circuit, I think, is Illinois. They said it was constitutional.
That sounds right.
Then it went to the Supreme Court on it. So that they didn't say it was. They said they denied the stay, right? Because it hasn't gone through full hearing yet.
Okay.
So Federal Circuit denied the stay, effectively saying we think it's going to be constitutional. Like you're not going to succeed on the merits. Seventh Circuit did the same thing. Now one judge out of the Seventh Circuit, right? Because for stays it just goes to one person. Then it gets appealed to the Supreme Court. Goes to Amy Coney Barrett. I think she's the seventh. She's over the Seventh Circuit for like emergency actions.
Okay.
And she immediately said, I need both parties to submit some briefs. So here's the thing, right? So if they stay the law, if they overturn the decisions of the federal court and the federal appeals court, and they stay the law from coming into I don't know, yeah, exactly, like coming into existence. One of the tenets of a TRO or temporary injunction or whatever is a likelihood to succeed on the merits. So they're not going to do that. What they're saying is the plaintiff, in this case, the people saying the law is unconstitutional, right?
Right.
They won't issue a temporary restraining order or an injunction or a stay on the law, however, like whatever wording you want to use,
They're not going to
unless that one element is met, a likelihood to succeed on the merits. So if they stop the law from coming into play, if they're like, nope, law's going to stay null and void until this goes all the way through the courts, what the Supreme Court is doing is telegraphing how they're going to decide when it gets there, more than likely.
Got it. Well, I also saw something in the article that Kavanaugh was involved somehow, some way in the situation.
I didn't see. I don't know why it would be. I mean, I think at some point they all vote on this day, but Barrett controls the flow of information at first. I don't know exactly how that procedure works.
Is she kind of the precursor to doling it out to the other justices?
Yeah, in this case, because it's not an actual, like it's not a full court case that came all the way through.
Got it.
It's them appeal it. What is it? I forget what
appeal
they
process?
I forget what they call it. What that appeal is. There's a name for an appeal inside of a case. So that's what these would be. You can appeal certain things while the case is going on before it finishes. Things like temporary restraining orders are one of those things.
So, being a resident of California, what occurred to me is that let's say the decision is in favor of not banning the AR-15s in all 50 states. Does that?
Well, that wouldn't be the decision.
I think that's what they were.
Banning all AR-15s.
No. Allowing all AR-15s. In
No, that would be the practical effect, but they're not deciding on all 50 states. They're deciding on Illinois. But what that is, if they stop the law from coming into being a law,
Okay.
stop the legislation from coming to actually being a law, if they stop it until it goes through the court system, what they're saying is this law is probably going to be found unconstitutional because that's what the plaintiffs are filing the case on.
Right.
Right? So if that law is unconstitutional, then probably so are all the other laws that all the other states have passed banning the same thing.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that those laws stop being. It just means that the Supreme Court is telegraphing how they're going to decide on it when it gets there. And when it gets there, then that decision will apply to every state for those issues that come up in that case.
Right. So what I'm looking at here is it's being done in Illinois. Should it go through? And I'm not talking about the ban. Should it be in favor of allowing Illinois to sell AR-15s? Right.
Yes, saying the law that they passed is unconstitutional, probably.
Or what about the one in Washington?
Well, so this is the thing, right? Until a case actually gets to the Supreme Court that they're going to decide on, you don't know. Because the stay won't apply to, like, stopping the law from coming into being won't apply to the laws in California or the ones that were just passed in Washington or anywhere else, unless they also file motions and then those stays go up and then they can affect the stays. But they still need one of these cases with a full record from one of these places to go all the way to the Supreme Court, them hear it, and then put out a decision saying one thing or another.
And is that essentially setting precedent?
That would be where, that would be like a decision with legal weight.
Okay.
The stay doesn't have that. It's just saying, we're going to hold off on this law. Like, you guys don't get to do this until we decide on it, which is telegraphing how they're going to decide on it.
Sure. So the main thing is that I know about the California ARs is they have a paddle behind the grip, or you have to have a locked magazine.
Yeah, featureless ARs, they call them.
Yeah, okay. So does that mean California can still or not? Can California still say you got to have featureless?
They can for a while
Okay.
until a full case goes to the Supreme Court. The stay in Illinois has nothing to do with California.
Well,
Nothing will change in California regardless of what they do on that decision or on that decide on that stay.
right.
Won't matter at all. It won't apply to California until a decision with legal weight comes out of the Supreme Court and says this is how we decided this case.
Right.
And California is still probably going to find ways to loophole, and they're like, well, our law isn't exactly like that law because, A, B, C, D, E. And then that'll go to the Supreme Court. We're talking about a long process.
Yeah.
It's not going to be quick, but it might be quick, and that we know how most of them are going to come out depending on this decision out of Illinois, like the decision on the stay out of Illinois.
Okay. Cool. I mean, there's hope.
Yeah, listen, at some point these things are going to be knocked down as unconstitutional by this court.
Of course, there's hope.
Just move to Nevada.
Move to Nevada and stop worrying about silly ass California laws.
Hey, believe me, I've looked at the numbers and I've looked at the situation about
Just saying.
and
Move on down
as much as I'd like to
to
do
good
that.
old Nevada.
Well, here's the thing: is like you guys know that I've just gone carless, right? I don't have a vehicle at this time.
Well, that's right. Congratulations on your carless endeavor.
Well, thank you. And I had an opportunity yesterday to grab my e-bike and go to an appointment that happened on short notice. And it's like, oh, I do have some mobility here. What are you laughing at, Casey?
What? I didn't. I was laughing.
Stoneface Casey was
I was-
not laughing.
Oh,
It was
okay.
all
Okay.
Mad Max over there. I was laughing at you.
What, on my e-bike?
The Road Warrior. He's like e-bike.
Have you tried A?
No, because B almost killed me.
Really?
B was not.
Not a fan of B.
B was not a generous time. Me and B had a disagreement almost as soon as it hit my palate. And then, life was just full of instant regret. As soon as I swallowed, I was like, oh God, I'm dying. It burnt. It killed some kind of bacteria that was in my throat for sure. And then it just kind of
All right.
kept going down. Are you through all yours? Are you?
Yes.
Oh,
I have to decide which one I like the most.
Yes.
Okay. And is C high up or C was good?
No, I think C is going to comfortably be last.
Really?
It's between A and B.
Really?
Yeah.
You're sick.
Yeah.
There's something clearly wrong with you. C was nice. C was smooth, generous. I'll try this A. I think I know what A is. I'm gonna try A right here.
You're for the record, you're right on A.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you?
100%.
Which is it's funny because it's the first time I've actually noticed that. And as soon as you said like Jack Daniels, I went, wait a minute, I know what I'm looking for, and I was all, that's that smell.
If A is not the single barrel bulletproof, I will be blown away. Like I don't even know what I'm doing here if A is not Jack Daniels.
Oh, that's Jack Daniels. Oh yeah.
So are you guys ranking
Me-
these as far as
Me and Jack don't get along.
you and Jack don't get along?
No, not in a pale moonlight.
Oh my god, it's
I can tell you right now, it is CAB for me.
that's your list.
That's my list.
As far as your rankings?
As far as what I can comfortably drink. I'm going off of comfort here.
But is that your ranking?
Yeah, it's also my ranking is CAB. B is a mean bitch.
B is not a mean.
It is a mean bitch.
Go.
You think? Are you telling me to try it again? Are we doing it?
No, I'm not.
Are you,
I think B is just too high proof for you.
that's yes. B is liquid fire.
So, Lane?
I'm not there yet. I'm close.
Okay.
I'm deciding.
Let the man drink.
No.
He's had a long day.
Okay. I'll let him. I'll let him drink
Mm-hmm.
in peace. I will try to do it in peace. So, echo chambers.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about first. Wait, before we get there, let's talk about F1 because I got absolutely
Formula One.
smoked.
Yeah, but not.
Smoked. Now, mind you, the guy used his one triple points coin and then moved his double points coin off of Verstappen to Perez, right? So he goes 1-2 on the triple and the double. I had my double points on Verstappen, so I didn't lose. I only lost 33% or whatever.
Did you play your double points?
No, you always get a double.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't put the triple in play. And I wasn't the only one that thought people were going to finish that race. They underfueled those cars because they thought they were going to be sitting for a while at some point.
Really?
Yes. Even the announcer said so. They started giving lift and coast commands
They were pretty early on. those
really
little
early
coasts.
in that
Yeah,
race.
That's fair.
They expected yellow cards and red cards. So the coin I used, because you don't really know when to use it anyway, it's a crapshoot, is the no negative points. You get negative points if people don't finish, like they DNF.
Okay.
So I used that for this race because last year 5 cars didn't finish. I was like, it's good a time as any to use it. So I still get to use the triple, but his triple double allocation worked out perfectly for him. So I started out the week 100 points ahead of him, and now I'm 18 points behind him.
So.
And the Stroll, so I swapped out Gasly for Stroll, and it actually hurt me, even though Gasly finished higher than Stroll by 3-4 spots. I don't even think Stroll finished in the points, but because he passed so many people getting up to 11th or 12th, he got 2 more points than Gasly.
Really?
So I'm gonna go back to Stroll. I gotta check and see where Zhou was, because Hulkenberg qualifies better than he races, and Zhou races better than he qualifies,
For sure.
and that's better in fantasy.
For sure.
Yes.
Even if he doesn't finish in the points, he qualifies at like 18 and then finishes at like 12 or 13 almost every race. So it's going to go back to Stroll and Zhou, I think.
But are there any points at 12 and 13?
No, but you get points for passing. So like if you start at 18 and you finish at 11, you get 7 points. Well, you actually get 14 points because you get 7 for passing and then you get 7 for finishing in a better place.
Oh, interesting. So your strategy and what you did as far as choosing the drivers and them performing to your expectations really outplayed his choices.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of whether the coins got played or not.
Yeah, when I still have that coin to use, plus and he's got to use a couple more and I got to use a couple more. It's not as like I'm still in a pretty good position, but I didn't like going from 100 up to 18 down. That annoyed me.
No.
I'm sitting there just hoping for both Red Bull cars to DNF. And they're my top 2 drivers in fantasy, and I'm like, DNF, don't do it. Like, waste those
Not gonna
points.
happen. Not gonna happen.
All right. It's BAC.
BAC.
Yes.
For how you rank
BAC.
it.
Yes, that's my
Okay.
ranking. BAC.
Right. BAC.
And I'm pretty sure, Casey, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first.
I'm pretty sure I know. So I'm pretty sure B is Stag. I'm 100% sure that A is Jack, and I think C is the Russells.
C is the Russells,
Yes, I think so.
and B is
Stag.
Stag.
Yeah.
Was Stag the higher proof?
Stag was the highest proof of the three.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
Sure.
So then yeah. Then yeah, because A is definitely Jack Daniels. For sure.
Yeah.
So yeah. Then yeah, if Stag is the highest, then B is Stag, and C is.
And if you don't like B, you can just dump yours into my glass. That's fine.
Perfect. That's good because you can have all of B.
So,
That's stuff.
so Casey,
Hot fire.
what are you saying they are again?
What's that?
What
But I think he's going in the same order I did.
Well, my order was CAB
That's your rank,
for what I like for my ranking.
right? So
But
what are you
we're
saying?
both in agreement that it's A is Jack Daniels, B is Stag, and C is the Russell's Reserve.
Wow, gentlemen, you only got one right.
Really?
Yep.
A?
C.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Russell's Reserve. C.
Is B the Jack Daniels?
Nope. Oh yes, B is Jack Daniels, and Stag is the A.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because the nose knows.
That's how I poured them.
I have serious questions. And B is just so much more oily.
No, there's no way, man. There is so much banana bread in A. There cannot not be Jack Daniels.
I don't know. Anyway, moving on.
Maybe you mislabeled them.
Maybe I mislabeled them.
No.
Me. He's saying maybe I missed it.
Oh,
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time I did something like that.
That's
It's possible.
possible, but
Highly unlikely.
I mean, who knows at this point?
But that's, I mean,
damn.
that's how I did it. I put Jack in the middle for a reason. Because I knew it would be too easy to make it an A or a C.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
I don't know. What do you guys got going on before we go into this nonsense?
Kind of already touched it on it for me, you know.
Hey, the Giants are winning again.
Yeah, they are. I'm pleasantly surprised. Webb smoked a good 7 innings.
Casey and Randy are both annoyed.
I'm a Cleveland fan. I don't care.
You clearly root against the Giants just because he's a fan.
Well, just because he's here, yeah.
Yeah.
So I also like the Submariner. Rogers came in the 8th.
Okay.
We still have that guy.
And
Oh.
yeah, we still have him. And Duvall came in and closed on the 9th.
I like Dole. He's a good closer.
It was a good. You know what? He's an okay closer. I was thinking about this. I go, what is it that I'm not really confident about Duvall? And I know what it is. It's because I compare him to the dominant closers that we've had, like the guy who crosses hands and God, what is his name? He was really dominant. He ended up going to the Dodgers as well. We traded him for whatever reason. Brian, I want to say Brian. Can't grab his last name. And then we had
The beard guy?
yes.
I just remember the beard guy.
Fear the beard.
Yeah, Fear the Beard. That's the guy. That was the closer you're talking about?
Yeah, he started that. Fear the beard.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
Oh.
But still, I mean, I think Duvall throws a good close. Like,
He's
he's consistent.
well, yeah. I mean, he's not. You know what? He's not dominating. He's very calculated. He's got his way about doing it without being over the top. You know, it's probably the best way to say
I haven't even looked at the Angels. Are they even in contention? I'm afraid to look. After last year,
Well, it's early.
I know, but
Who cares?
once the Angels are out of it, they're out. This isn't 02 where we were kind of out of it, and then all of a sudden we came back.
Like for some
Like
miracle March.
we're just not that good.
Well,
You got Otani.
so the good news,
You got Mike
Ohtani.
Trout. You got big Mike Trout.
And it doesn't seem to matter.
That's fair because it's pretty much all you got is Otani and
I
Trout.
mean, I think they won tonight against the Astros.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm afraid to look.
Shohei Ohtani has surpassed the Babe in strikeouts.
Well, yeah, but
That's not hard.
Babe Ruth stopped pitching pretty early.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay,
They moved him squarely into you're going to bat every day
gotcha.
pretty fast. They also, I don't think, had the DH at the time.
Well, let's see. He was for the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the 20s and 30s.
Oh no, they wouldn't have had the DH.
So
Plus, how many games are they playing?
they couldn't afford to only have him bat once every 3 or 4 games.
Right. They needed. So where did they move him to?
I don't know what position he played.
Outfield?
I have no idea.
No, it wouldn't have been outfield because he's too heavy.
Well, he wasn't always heavy. I mean, he was always big, but he wasn't always lumbering.
Maybe he played first base. I don't know.
He might have played first base. I mean, that's where they hide. That's hiding sluggers at first base is a long-standing
Yeah.
MLB tradition. Casey, what do you got?
Currently, the Angels
R.
are 7th in the league.
Where are they in their division?
In their division,
We're behind the Astros.
Texans.
Texans?
Yep.
So are
Okay.
they third in their division?
They're second.
Second.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow. You've got Texas is 1 game ahead.
Okay.
And then Seattle's 3.5 games behind. Houston's 3.5. And Oakland is 14.
Yeah, Oakland's bad.
Yeah.
No one's showing up to the games. It's bad.
Yeah. We had a
Yeah.
guy in here smoking the other night.
Yeah, you
So-
said it was like 2,500 people at the game? Wow,
Yeah.
that's so terrible.
Oh,
So are like tickets free to go to the A's game? Is that-
They pretty much.
Pretty much.
Okay.
They're like, do you want to come and buy some concessions? We're just going to open the gates.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you can buy a general admission ticket and go sit behind home plate.
Yeah.
You know.
But you can go, I mean,
I mean, it's not crowded.
Right.
So if there is a time to go and you don't like people, then the A's is the answer because it's like perfect.
Well, you go. So I used to go watch the A's play the Boston Red Sox because I was a Boston Red Sox fan. I mean,
I don't know that you should say that out loud.
When were you a Red Sox fan? Wait a minute.
so I've always had an affinity for the Red Sox. And
Traitor.
But wait a minute, no, I'm allowed one team per side. So I'm allowed one team in the AL and I'm allowed one team in the NL. And
False. 100% wrong.
Dude, I'm gonna have to ask you to turn in all your Giants gear to the appropriate true Giants fans.
So back in the '70s, when I went watched I watched the Boston Red Sox play the A's, and it was fun. It was fun, and we were third deck, and it was fun. I mean, it wasn't like we needed. I mean, I was 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm actually not a huge fan of sitting behind home plate.
you know, I've sat behind home plate a few times, and there's nothing like that.
No, I have. I've done it.
Oh, yeah?
I don't like it as much. I'd
No?
rather be like 5 or 6 rows up, right at the end of the dugout.
Okay.
You get a better view of the game.
Like first base, third base,
Yeah.
but a little higher up. So like,
Yeah, just high enough up that you don't like nothing's cut off from your view. Because unless you're past the dugout, like there's certain plays you can't see, like pop-ups where they're running off the side, off the foul line. You can't see it.
Right back
Could-
in the
Yeah, you need to be high enough up above
In
the
the
dugout that
corner.
you get the angle.
Yeah, because you can see it in the corner.
Yeah.
okay,
There's always going to be one corner that you can't see because you're behind, essentially behind the dugout. I mean, those are good. Those are good seats as well.
Well, there's a whole
Don't get me
section at
wrong.
the Giants Park where you can't see right field.
Really?
Where?
Yeah, it's that section that turns the corner up high, and it's blocked.
What's it blocked by?
It's not just the angle. Like, it's a terrible angle.
Oh.
You can't see, like, the way that it sits, you can't see all of the field. I think it's right field.
Well,
It's been
I
a
know-
long time since I sat there. That was college.
So I know that if I'm sitting on the Giant side behind their dugout, I can see definitely well into right.
No, this is
But-
all the way back. Like, this is sitting in the outfield.
Right. Oh, what?
There's a section that, like, turns this awkward corner.
Yeah.
And you can't see everything from there. If you're, like, you can if you're up high. But if you're down in one of the lower sections, you can't see the whole field. It's cut off because it's set back a little bit, just enough.
Are you talking about the outfield?
Yeah.
Oh, those seats. Okay, I know what you're talking. They're in the gap. They're the seats that are essentially in the gap. I know what you're getting at. Yeah, you can't see right field very well at all. I mean, especially, yeah, you can't see them when they get backed up against the fence.
Yeah, I watched the Giants-Cubs game from there. And it was just, I mean, we didn't care. We were college kids. We were basically just getting drunk. But, you know, you kind of want to see the game. And you sit down and you're like, oh, I can't see the right fielder. That's curious.
No wonder these seats were $10.
I think they were 18.
No wonder these seats were $18.
All right. What were your? How did you rank that? CAB?
Yes.
And that's exactly how I ordered it.
CAB.
All right. So I was listening to one of those news podcasts, like one of the right-left news podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about how they're not going to do any primary debates, like really either party. First it was Biden who's like, we're not doing that. And then Trump was like, well, I don't need to do that either. And they were complaining a lot about not having a democratic process. And, you know, most of the Democratic Party would prefer to see a candidate other than Biden run at this point. Like, they'd prefer he just not run. And my question is at this point, because they're talking about how the debate process is controlled by the whatever the presidential debate committee is. I forget what the acronym is for it. But anyway, so this is my question. Like, we have enough power in independent media at this point. Like all these different podcasts, you know, the Crowders and what Tucker's about to be and all the people on the left that are starting to do it. Why don't they just get together and run an entirely independent system? If the top candidates want to play, fine. If not, like, just run debates without them. They have all the equipment. They have the infrastructure. They have the audience. Just do it.
When were debates introduced into the campaigning trail?
Oh, God, forever ago. But the actual debate committee, the Committee on Presidential Debates, I think it's called, didn't take control over the debating process until, I want to say it was Dukakis Bush Sr. signed an agreement to create this committee.
Oh, interesting.
And it's been the controlling sort of group ever since. But they don't have enough power anymore because they only, I mean, yeah, they have enough power if you're talking about cable or like broadcast. But most everyone under the age of 50 also listens to some version of news podcast. Some people listen to a bunch of them. Some people listen to one or two of them. But you get like 12 or 14 of these shows, the most powerful independent news podcasts together.
Yeah.
Go run your own debates.
Yeah.
Like, put the people that you want to see in the debates. If Biden and Trump want to show up, fine. If they don't want to show up, at least you've got an open forum of these people who are supposed to be relatively intelligent and experienced in this situation, discussing the issues. At the very least, you're raising issues that need to be raised. Like, it's a valuable effort, even if none of them become the candidate they wish they had.
So
It's the CPD.
So basically, you're getting
Commission on Presidential Debates?
Yes.
Yeah. Whoa. That hurt.
Established in 1987.
Was that Dukakis Bush?
Yes, that would be. Because Bush Senior was 1992. So
Yeah, they were running when I was still in Southern California as a kid.
Yeah.
So it had to be right then.
Yes.
88. It had to be 88.
Yeah, in 1988, the League of Women Voters withdrew its sponsorship of the presidential debates after Bush-Dukakis campaigns secretly agreed to a memorandum of understanding that would decide which candidate could participate in the debates, which individuals would be panelists, and therefore able to ask questions, and the height of the lecterns. So yeah. 80.
So I'm wondering if I don't remember debates prior to that.
No, because the League of Women Voters had been sponsoring debates, I think, since the 60s.
Really?
Well, the first televised debate is the most famous one. This Nixon.
Yeah, it's the one where Nixon
Kennedy.
refused to wear makeup and looked like crap.
Yeah, because he was under he wore a black shirt,
Yeah.
and he was under the TV lights, and so he was sweating profusely. He looked terrible, and Kennedy's up there. He's got a white shirt on. He's wearing makeup because he's, trying to look healthy.
Yeah.
And he just looked. Everyone was like, "Wow, that guy looks really presidential."
Yeah.
And he smoked him in the debates too, which didn't help Nixon at all. So yeah, that was the first televised one.
I mean, there's nothing. Being uncomfortable in a situation like that will hinder your performance substantially.
Oh, I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
I think the format needs to change though.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, the format's terrible.
Well, at this point, it's really just, sections of their stump speeches given in sequence. It's like your turn. They don't even answer each other's questions.
Right.
Yeah,
They just,
that's what I mean. I want
Right.
you to answer the question.
yeah.
Answer the question.
And they really don't.
Well, it's like Biden, tell us about your son's laptop and his drug problem. And they're like, well, what I'm going to address in the tech sector. And they're like, what the,
Yeah.
they're barely related.
I'm glad you got laptop out of there and made tech sector. Very good, sir. But that's not the question we asked.
Yeah. What's really important for people with drug habits is proper health care. And then they move into health care. And you're like, well, but
Hold
listen,
on. No.
I want to hear about proper health care. You're not going to be able to get that done. So let's talk about this salacious shit. Right? I mean, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you 3 questions that you can just say pass on. Other than that, that's it.
You have to answer.
You have to answer the question,
That would be. Yeah.
and then that way, because then you ask the right question, someone goes pass, you go.
What they need is for the moderator, and they would never do this, to have a mute button. Sorry, sir, you're not answering the question.
They need
Please
the-
try again.
They need the moderator to be Mr. T.
Yeah. Or
Shut up,
or
fool.
Terry, whatever his name is.
Terry Tate.
Terry Tate, the office linebacker.
Office linebacker.
They could actually be a duo. Mr. T could be the moderator, and Terry Tate could be the guy with the hook.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And we need someone with a gong. Yeah.
Yep, and a gong.
Gong and a hook.
Who was the guy that got famous for doing the gong? Supposedly he was a CIA informant.
Oh, the talk show host. There was a whole movie about him. I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm sure the CIA employed whoever would sign up.
At that point, in time?
The gray suits are shameless, and also, no one really wants to associate with them. Like, this is the dirty little secret, is that the job sucks, and that they really just don't care about you.
Yeah. See seasons 1 through 3 of Bird Notice.
Yeah. I still want to know who wrote those monologues. Somebody with some knowledge, I expect.
Spies like us. Whoever was like, yeah, no, we'll
Anyway,
Makes sense.
that goes to what I was talking about earlier, the echo chambers, right?
Right.
It's like we don't reach out to places where we're not going to hear affirmations of what we're saying. Like, it's uncomfortable to go into a place where people are going to argue with you and have different opinions.
Yeah.
I mean, less so for me, but for most people, it's really uncomfortable because I just like the fight.
But there's a difference between someone just going, "Oh, you're wrong," and then someone actually having an argument,
Or debate.
right? Because if someone really has an opinion, and they can come at you with facts
A valid
and
opinion.
statements, and it's exactly. I'll listen. I'm intrigued. You know what you're talking about.
Listen, I'm less interested
I'm for that.
that they have facts at the ready. I would ask the right questions, answer the right questions.
Yeah.
Like we have a really bad habit in politics of making the this is good so that must be bad assumption. We forget the other two options, that both things can be bad or both things can be good. Like we're not willing to acquiesce to either of those two. It's
Right.
like I'm fighting to prove that I'm good and you're bad.
Or I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah, like we have to take the opposing position.
So I want to back up a little bit. And it's like the candidates don't go to a place, they don't rally in a place that they're going to get some pushback. And yet, that to me would seem to be the best place to go campaign.
Well, there used to be some value in that. They called it counter programming, where you would send someone down to a group of people and tell them something they didn't want to hear, and you would look strong.
Yeah.
Right? But there's no value in that at this point because we don't they don't. Well, they don't really campaign in full sentences anymore. They campaign in sound bites. It's really just about getting the line out so that whatever the media that shows your side is can cut the right sound bite and play it over and over and over again for 3 days until the next time you go out and campaign rally.
Well, it's interesting. It's like I'm watching the candidates campaign. And it's like I'm going, they're just going to their base. They're not reaching beyond their base.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah,
it's-
you don't
and
have
it's
to. You don't have to
unfortunate.
campaign in states you're comfortable in these days.
No,
Like,
you-
no Democratic
but
has to
that's
come to
what they're doing.
California and campaign.
Right, that's true.
No Democratic person has to set foot in California at all. It's a waste of money.
Well,
False, because it looks really good on TV if
Yeah.
you show up and you've got 30,000 people at your rally, all cheering.
and it's kind of
All right, yeah.
fundraising,
I guess
too.
if you need to show up and you need celebrities to prove they endorse you or something, sure,
But-
you show up and you go to California.
Listen, that's B-roll for the rest of the campaign.
True, but you don't actually have to, unless you're Ronald Reagan. Then you just automatically get California because you're a Republican. But
Yeah, no, in order to win the state, not necessary.
What is B-roll?
B-roll's like non-direct footage, right? Like they're talking about they're talking about Biden talking, like his campaign rally, and then it shows him talking about something, and then it flashes to like the crowd and everybody with the signs and like cheering and shit. The crowd and the signs and the cheering is B-roll.
Okay.
yeah, and then you go, wow, that rally was really popular. I can't believe it. And you're like, yeah, that rally was 3 days ago. It was in California. Yeah. I'd look really popular too if I just showed you like the Rose Bowl stadium packed full of people
Yeah.
rooting for the Rose Bowl game, and I was like, no, that's actually after I said something, and everyone applauded. Like, oh wow, he must be really, really good.
That's a Donald Trump maneuver.
Yes.
Yeah.
I learned from the best.
Wasn't that the Super Bowl? No. That was my rally. Yeah.
That
were
was
so many
that was
people-
clearly AT&T Stadium. I know that place.
What else is going on? So that's when we were talking about. That's what I meant. Like I get really tired of people just going to places where people are going to tell them they're right and
Yeah.
saying, like, I
Yeah.
went to do this and everyone thought I was right. Well, yeah, of course they did,
Yeah.
because
You're sick of
you
that.
vetted all of the people that came to the rally beforehand, or you didn't have to because you went into squarely your territory.
So see that so for debates then, right? Do you need like almost like text your question
No,
like on Twitter or something,
what we need for debates,
and then you can vote on it.
like put out the topics. You know, if it's the debate on the economy, fill the entire debate hall with economists that are able to ask questions.
And then just take them from real.
Yeah,
Real economists.
If it's foreign relations, fill it with people from both sides of the State Department. Like
Oh, okay.
let's get some experts in there to ask some questions and see what these guys really know.
So you want like theme specific debates.
Well, debates are themed. If
No.
there's four, there will be one on foreign policy and one
true.
on, like they section them out. I mean, that's not how they end up. They end up being like, the salacious stuff.
Well,
But
I mean, the last
They
few debates I
funnel-
watched, yeah.
And they funnel all the questions through the moderator. So it's not like,
yeah, otherwise it's really not a debate. It's a town hall. But listen, let's run some town halls with some legitimate experts in the audience.
yeah, no doubt.
And again, I want answer the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I like are the primary debates versus the actual presidential debates. Because they're so much more livelier.
Yeah, that's fair. Well,
Because
there's
you have so many more people on the stage.
yeah, and it just becomes this like fight.
Well, yeah.
You enjoy the petty bickering.
Yes.
It is.
To a certain degree.
If you'd like that,
Yes.
there's this really cool show. It's been around for about 18 years now, and it's quite literally a whole show about petty bickering over the most random topics you've ever seen. And it's hosted by a politician.
What show is this?
Yeah.
Jerry Springer.
Oh God. He passed away recently.
Am I wrong?
He did pass away recently.
Am I wrong?
No, that's pretty much right. He was the mayor of Cincinnati.
He was a politician.
Was he really?
Do either of you know how come he wasn't the mayor of Cincinnati?
Wasn't he using money for sexual favors?
Ish. It's better than that though.
Or was it drugs?
No, it was sexual favors. It was prostitutes.
Wasn't prostitutions with government checks?
Yeah, with Cincinnati checks.
Yeah, like the people of Cincinnati. Yeah. Oh, what's that movie?
I gotta love that.
There's a movie about it.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Jerry Springer did the movie.
Did he?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
No, he actually was an incredibly interesting personality.
But
Well, you talked to the dude that was his like head of security on the show forever, the big tall bald guy.
yeah,
They did an interview with him, which I didn't watch, but someone said he's basically just like the dude was the nicest guy ever. Like he was amazing.
Are you talking about Jesse Ventura?
No, the guy
no.
that was Jerry Springer's head
Jerry
of security
Springer's
on the
bodyguard.
show.
Oh, head of security. Okay.
He was this tall, lanky, bald guy, and apparently they were amazing friends.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
I didn't watch the interview because I didn't.
Yeah.
But what he was saying was that like behind closed doors, he was friendly and cordial
and well read,
yeah.
like very well read. If the prostitution thing hadn't gone down, he might have ran for president at one point, which would have been pretty freaking cool.
Are you talking about Springer?
Yeah.
I mean, there is zero chance he would have been the first presidential candidate to employ the services of a prostitute.
Yeah, I mean, come on. come on.
Speaking of bouncers or heads of security, I mean, those guys work. Those guys actually do something, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
So I noticed that there was a topic here in regards to the least favorite employer.
No, employee.
Employee.
So this came up. So I've worked over the years with a lot of guys who call themselves numbers guys. Fucking numbers guy, right? And they go around, like they basically spend the day in their office looking at spreadsheets that they don't really understand. Like, so okay, this is my problem, right? Like I'm pretty good with numbers in a business.
Uh-huh.
I know what I'm looking at. It's hard to do your job without them. But if that's the only thing you're doing, you are criminally deficient in your job,
Sure.
especially if there's an operations aspect to your job.
I want,
Because numbers at their core level are a relationship. Like they represent the relationships between your employees and your customers, between the value statement, between what you're offering your customers and what they're buying, like how much you're willing to spend, how often they come in. If you don't understand your product and the people, both customers and employees, you don't know what those numbers mean. If you have no relationships on the floor, the only thing you know about numbers is spend less, charge more. That's the extent of what you understand, which does no favors for a business.
so, well, that's interesting. I wonder if that comes out of the aspect. I mean, when I was in sales in my industry, it was work smarter, not harder.
See, and I don't get behind that.
Okay.
I don't listen. If I've got people that are like, I'm so talented I can be lazy, I will 100% fire that person over a period of time.
Well, I don't. So smarter wasn't necessarily lazy. Smarter just meant exponentially improving the amount of work that you got done in time. So in other words, when it was about smarter, not harder, for me it meant less volume, higher dollars.
Well, and that's fine for you. And it's fine for the business for a time. However, if you're decreasing your ability to move through the market, eventually you will also decrease your dollars over time. Right. This is the Pareto distribution misnomer, right? Like the whole 80-20 garbage. It's terrible.
Right.
Like it works for a time, but it also roots you in the past. If you're not expanding your footprint
True.
through effort, eventually your business will start receding.
Well, what's interesting is we didn't expand our footprint, but what we did do is we put more people into that footprint so we could get a higher amount of volume, because you're seeing more. You're spreading out how many customers you're seeing between 3 different people. So if I'm covering, for instance, if I'm covering 150 clients, okay, and I'm not able to increase my footprint, the company decided, okay, he's only getting to be able to touch so many 50 people in that 150 a month. So let's put 3 people or 2 more people in there to where all 3 of us are seeing 50 per month.
Yeah, no, that's a coverage thing, but I'm not necessarily talking about footprint in the geographical sense.
Oh.
I'm talking about footprint in the ability to generate and understand relationships.
Was that in your boiler room days?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
My boiler room days?
Yeah. Stuff 30 guys in a room making 40, 50 phone calls a day. That's a boiler room,
No, I
my
didn't.
man.
No, we
That's-
didn't do boiler. No, it was outside sales. It wasn't even.
Oh, it's definitely boiler room then.
No, outside sales. You were out and about. You
Hi,
weren't even-
Mr. Johnson. This is Will calling. Look, I want you to know I got this really hot product coming out in the market. Okay, I'm gonna get you on the ground floor.
Well, we got this product, and I can tell you where it's good, where it's better against two to 3 of our competitors, even though
That's
we've
right.
got 10 competitors in the
But
market.
this one-time opportunity. Don't hang up the phone. You don't need to call your wife. Okay, what you need to do is invest in your life right now for $50K.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you like that? I've been practicing.
No, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that at some point, like on the numbers guy problem, like usually numbers guy is just an excuse to hide in their office
Right.
and stare at stuff so they don't have to deal with people. Most of them have no idea what they're actually doing in the business. They're going to hammer you on, you spent too much on beef. Well, the cost of beef is going up, and we've been serving this quality for 20 years. If we spend less, we're going to drop down, 2 quality levels, and our customers are going to notice. It's going to be more prohibitive to the sales than it is to the cost savings. And that's a very simple, explanation of how that works out. But I've never met a numbers guy that could actually do their job.
Oh no,
Unless their job is purely accounting, and their job is to explain the numbers to the people who are actually working in operations. But the numbers guys that I've come across over the years have also said, that was their operational role, and that's impossible.
yeah, I mean, it's funny that you're describing something that I have in my mind is the executives in the higher, board of directors, and they're going, you know what, these are the numbers, and these numbers aren't right because we want to, be more profitable.
Well, at the very top end of corporations at this point, we've reached a place for most of those corporations where their product becomes less valuable than their ability to leverage capital, which is fine for their business. It doesn't serve the market at all. It doesn't serve the market at the lowest levels. Their products become trash. They're leveraging capital, but eventually their products no longer support that capital, and that supply diminishes too. But that's, at that point, the shareholders have made their money and they've moved on.
Right.
But, I mean, that's a whole other thing.
Okay.
well, 'cause, I mean, that was hospitality was the same way. Like when we were in timeshare, we had those guys. The regional guy was all about numbers. He's
Right.
like, well, what can we do to do better? And you're like, do better. We're at 90% occupancy all the time. We can barely keep up on the room maintenance as it is. How much better do you want us to do? Because if we're selling out the rest of the rooms at 100%, then we're just falling behind on maintenance. So now the quality of our rooms is going to go down.
Well, and oftentimes the problem with those guys, generally speaking, they're not very creative, right?
No.
So by do better, they mean either charge more for existing services
Yep.
or spend less on existing services.
Yep.
Rarely is it how can we expand existing services to fully encompass the market that we have or expand our market.
Well, because they don't know the market.
No, this is my point.
Yeah.
They don't understand what the business is.
No.
At its very core, they don't. They look at it on a spreadsheet and they understand that they're spending this much and they're making this much and there are this many people coming through. You know, the average dollars per cover is this. So how do we expand our dollars per cover, or how do we decrease our cost per cover?
Well, it's like a pier, right? Like Tahoe's kind of a unique place sometimes, and the numbers gotta go. What the hell happened in January? Why were we down so much? And you're like, motherfucker, it snowed.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why are we down on numbers? No one could get here.
Yeah, no, I mean, most numbers guys don't understand the term weather affected weekend.
Yeah,
which is a thing in Tahoe. Like, there have been winters up here working in these buildings where 10 out of the 12 weekends were weather affected.
Yeah.
Which means you're going to
Like,
see less people.
That happened this last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you those guys were like, what the hell happened? And you're like, look outside. What do you mean, what the hell happened?
Yeah. Well, and then there are places that are just like, well, let's cut services. Let's do this. Let's close these restaurants. Let's close this outlet. Let's not offer this past 8 o'clock. Right? And at some point, and listen, for a while it works, but there's a point where you cross below the competitive threshold. And that's the beginning of your business dying.
Well, and you know, COVID fucked the 24-hour market up
Oh, yeah.
substantially.
I mean, it's just starting to get back to that.
And it's disappointing. I like the 24-hour. I like the options.
Yeah, that's always been one of the things in Nevada.
Yeah, it's 24 hours.
Unless you're in Carson City, where at 10 o'clock everyone goes home.
Well, yeah,
Oh, is that right?
it's 10:30, 11. But yeah,
Yeah.
the AM/PM shuts down. Come on, we're in Carson City. The Walmart shuts down.
Yeah, I don't even know how that's possible.
You know how many times I miss going to Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Oh, I do, dude. I do my grocery shopping at Safeway
Yeah,
after midnight more often than not,
Sure.
because it's just easier. Like I know the guys that stock the shelves. I know more of them than I know checkers.
I've had
think
to
Go ahead.
change my my shopping now. I shop for groceries at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Oh,
right as the store opens, because it's as close to like 2 o'clock in the morning as I can get.
Yeah.
No one's in there. They're still stocking the shelves, and I can get exactly what I want without having to deal with anybody and get out.
right.
It's fantastic.
COVID screwed up the whole, like all the things that we enjoyed about Tahoe.
Ruined.
Not all of
Absolutely
them, but
ruined.
quite a bit of them. You're like, wait a minute, what happened here?
It's definitely changed.
I mean, every one of the casinos used to have a 24-hour restaurant. Now the only place you can go is Lucky Beaver.
Right. I mean,
Oh, I missed the Highland Bar.
breakfasts at the Highland Bar. That was awesome.
That was good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, $6 breakfast. On top of the Highland Bar, you had the 18th floor view.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And, even
And you can
better
play
when
Keno.
it's snowing.
And you play Keno.
That is one of the things that astounded me about Fandango. Still live Keno.
I know.
Really?
Live Keno.
In the restaurant.
that's
Keno runners walk
awesome.
through the restaurant.
I need to go down and have lunch down there.
Yes, I love live Keno. It's so good.
Oh, wait a minute.
They still do it at Harvey's, too.
That's going to be tough. To go down to Carson City and play Keno.
Well,
That
you,
is going
you
to
can
be
go to
tough.
Harvey's.
You know what? You're right. I should go to Harvey's.
They got the little tables.
Oh, the tables.
You got the little tables. You sit there in the little booth area. It's like nine tables, and you can still play live Keno.
Can you smoke cigars there?
Probably.
I doubt it.
Probably.
ERA has not been friendly to cigars.
Well, fuck it. Go, no one's playing Keno, so fuck it. Take a pack of Benson and Hedges to like,
Benson and Hedges.
pay off all the old ladies who are sitting next to you who want to smoke too.
Oh my
and just be
God.
like, look, here, you smoke that, I'm gonna smoke this. We're good. We're all
This-
breaking the rules together.
This is what's happening. Deal.
Yeah. Always bribe people sitting next to you. That's just how it works.
Oh my God. What else do you guys have going on? What do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
How are your cigars?
Oh,
Decent?
mine's
You
done.
finished
Oh,
yours. I told you they
this-
smoke fast.
Yeah, they do smoke fast. That did.
This
smoke fast.
Nicaraguan
The 1935?
Monte Cristo,
Yeah.
delicious.
Okay.
This
Nice.
is delicious.
I'm glad I bought myself
Yes.
one.
You will not be disappointed.
Are you going to bring them in?
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, you'd have to let go of something.
Yeah, I know. I'm running out of space.
Yeah, you could let go of the umbagogs.
No, I like those.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good, and they move.
Yeah,
Do
they
they?
move. I don't. I'm sure I can find a space.
We need to put in a Dunbarton order. Not getting the Caritas on that yesterday soccer order hurt us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I gotta do general.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
You might be able to hold off on AJ.
Yeah, I can hold off on AJ, but I think General and Dunbarton are my next kind of big ones. For
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway.
Oh, you know what? I did want to talk about that Formula One thing.
Which thing?
The sprint race format.
When's the next one of those?
It's a good question.
When's the next race?
The next race is.
Was this our triple?
Is it Monaco?
Is it Monaco?
Is Monaco the next race? I don't think it's Monaco. Might be.
I don't think we're there yet.
So they're not doing Texas?
They are. That's later.
Texas is in
So they're gonna come
August.
They're gonna go away and come back.
Yeah, Texas is after the summer break.
Why? I wonder why. I mean,
Well, they're going to go away and come back twice because Vegas isn't until November.
You would be surprised, Will,
yeah.
how much logistics goes into moving Formula One.
Well, yeah. I mean,
On average, there is about 6 cargo containers in motion with Formula One gear.
Mm-hmm.
There's at least 10 planes or more. And you're also talking about a fleet of trucks you have to operate, which is about 20 trucks a team,
yeah,
just to get it moving where it needs to go.
Well, knowing all that, why wouldn't they do Miami and Texas? It's all here in the States.
Well, because it's not all here.
What do you mean?
So certain tracks have contracts to be like certain places, right? So like you have a date set for Silverstone that you have to abide by. Monaco, the streets, people know the streets are going to close at that specific time. It's got to be done in that specific date range.
Well,
that was the
Vegas,
problem. Yeah, Vegas. Any of the street races are pretty much set up to be like, oh, hey, this is the time you can come to shut down our streets. Like we've mapped it out to where it works. So they move stuff. So like when they moved from Azerbaijan, right?
Yeah.
The stuff in the Azerbaijan plains is probably the stuff heading for Italy, which is the next race.
Okay.
And what was in the port of Miami was probably the cargo container equipment from Australia.
So they have 2 sets or 3 sets?
They have 6 sets of material at any one time
Okay.
moving around the globe.
Okay.
So, and we're talking about like, so the stuff that's on cargo containers is like merchandise. So, like, if I'm setting up Red Bull booth, for instance, in Miami, what showed up in a Connex box was a bunch of Miami themed T-shirts and hats and the gear that the guys were going to wear that weekend, plus the cutouts for the garage. And then those cutouts now get shipped back, so they get put back on a truck, into a Connex box, and that one is probably on its way to like Silverstone. That's when the next time they'll see that stuff.
So basically, what I'm hearing you say, it's logistically impossible to go from Miami to Texas.
Yes.
Because of how much material they have to move.
Well, yeah, because I mean, the other thing too is, so in Italy, like in Europe, it's really easy for you to drive 20 Volvo semi trucks from Italy to London to France.
To Portugal.
You know, yeah, because their roads are really well done.
Well, and it's effectively like driving up half the East Coast.
Exactly, it's so short ranged. So that's why a lot of those races are close together, because basically it's like, okay, Sunday night we're loading up 20 trucks and they're going to drive for 3 days. By Thursday morning, the truck should be there in time for us to set up. Not only that, we're also building the car by the time it shows up, so the car has to be built while you're building the garage. So Thursday night, your car is built, your garage is built. Friday, you practice. Saturday, you practice, you qualify. Sunday's the race. Sunday after the race, you're breaking it down and shipping it back off. I mean, it's a consistent motion of crazy logistics that has to go on.
Yeah, I mean, so it makes a little sense on, because you're leapfrogging, you know, it's like.
Yeah,
what-
well, you're
what came from
leapfrogging
What
to
came out
gear.
of Miami this week is going to a race 2 weeks or 4 weeks down the line, while the rest of the crew is in another place.
Yep.
So
Pretty much the only thing that stays the same
are the cars.
is the car. Like the car is what moves. And even then, because like if I've got, because you have to have 3 cars ready to go at any one time.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say I've the 2 cars we just built for Miami, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're not going to use that engine for either one of those cars, and we're fixing to put in upgrades, then I'll just send 2 of the bodies plus one of the other race engines plus 2 of the new fins with the rest of the parts, and I'll meet them in Italy. And essentially, we're building a new car now, so we've got the parts for 10 cars. We're just not. They're not all the same car, right? Like it'll be a car from a couple weeks back that doesn't have the upgrades on it that we're going to upgrade here, or it's going to be parts that we need to use.
So what constitutes a car? Is it the frame, the power plant, the transmission, and all that stuff?
So the car would be the floor, the floor and the hull beam. That's one part.
Okay.
Plus the engine transmission. That's
Right.
another part.
The fuel tank.
Plus, well, the fuel tank's built into the body top, so that would be the cockpit.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
The cockpit, which is with the fuel tank, and then you're looking at the rear suspension, front suspension, and the wings.
So you can have multiple sets of those.
Oh, well, there's always multiple sets.
Right.
You know, you've got your probably at any one time. There's probably 6 sets of wings available to any team member.
Sure.
High downforce, low downforce,
So-
modified downforce for specific driver style, stuff like that.
So what we're really seeing are the cars are not modified, but it's not really the same car each time. It's like the same.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it kind of is, but you do have to take it apart every race
Right.
and put it back together.
Right.
I mean, it's really impressive to watch this car go from like, oh, look, that's a full car, you know, and it's a big car, to, oh, it fits in 3 boxes on a plane, and now it's halfway across the world, and we put it back together.
But do the cars that you disassemble and put back together, do they leapfrog races as well?
Well, so that would be part of your upgrade plan. So some parts of the car, like if the next 3 races are the same kind of circuit, right? They require less downforce.
Okay.
I'm not going to send the high downforce wings with the car.
Right.
I'm going to send the car to meet the new lower downforce modified wings at, Italy. And those are the ones we're going to run through Italy all the way until we get to like Silverstone. And then when we get to Silverstone, we might need more downforce. So we'll bring 2 of the downforce ones with us to meet us when we get there. Yeah, it's the logistics for Formula One, team-wise, is crazy. Formula One itself moves at its own same logistic style.
Yeah.
I mean, you're moving 160 microphones, 250 cameras, camping gear, tents. Each
Yeah.
tent has to be themed for the race. You've got to make sure you got the right ones. I mean, it's stupid how much logistics they do just in Formula One. I mean, it's pretty impressive. Because most if you went to Silverstone right now, it wouldn't look impressive. Like, it's got the main building and some empty grandstands that have no significant design on them. And that's it.
Right.
When Formula One gets there, the 20 trucks of, the pictures of the Formula One drivers have to get put up over the nets. We have to paint the sidewalls. The Aramco barrier has to go up in one section because Aramco might not be sponsored by the other guys. So you might not even have Aramco. So all that stuff has to show up, get put out.
Sure.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I was just thinking, creating the gantry of the start-finish line, right? And you not only have the gantry, but you got lights in it. And you got, I can see where it just be overwhelming.
I think moving any large race event, F1, NASCAR, Indy, any of those, right? It's like moving the stuff you need for the Super Bowl, except you do it In F1's
23 times a
23
year.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
essentially.
in NASCAR's case, you do it like 132 times in a year, which barely even makes sense.
Yeah, I do.
Is there that many races?
Yeah,
No,
but
there's like
NASCAR's
40
a little
races
easier
in
though because
NASCAR.
they don't go across the ocean.
No, it's true, but I mean, have you a NASCAR event where 300,000 people are going to show up?
Oh, dude, that's I mean,
They've got so much stuff.
yeah. Just park at a NASCAR circuit 2 days before the or a week before the race, and just watch semi truck after semi truck just show up.
Yeah, and then you've got the trucks with the beer and the liquor.
Oh, the important trucks.
Concessions.
But no, Italy's the next race. It's on the 19th.
And then what's after Italy?
Then after Italy, it's Monaco.
Okay.
So 2 races. You got to watch out for your points.
Yeah. I don't know. I need to use that triple point coin to catch some points back up. I don't know when to use it.
I would hold off on it for a little bit.
I mean, the idea you just use it when you know you have a race that Verstappen's going to win effectively.
Right.
It's,
So any of them.
I mean, at this point, that car looks so dominant. It's not even close.
I know. It's just that car is.
Even his car over Checo's car. I mean, in theory, it's the same car.
There it is.
What's up?
June 30th at Austria is the next sprint race.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
So sprint race.
Well, I don't think the Red Bull car is particularly made for sprint races.
It's so that's the thing, right? So here, check this out. So let's pay attention, right? So the format for the new sprint race is really cool, right? So it's a super qualifying shootout, right? So you get 10 minutes for all 20 guys to go around the track on Q3, and they have to use the yellow tire.
Yeah.
So everyone has to be on the same tire.
I saw that.
So then you go to round 2, so Q2. Same deal, 10 minutes. Yellow tire. Everyone has to go around. So this is the top 15 guys. Then you get to Q1, which is 8 minutes on a brand new set of red tires, which is essentially 4 hard laps, just straight on, balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Which means that these sprint races show us the true car, I think, because it's got the lowest amount of fuel. It's got to be pushed the hardest it can, and it's got to put in as many laps as they can, right? And those soft tires are only good for 10 laps.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. Like in Miami, it was like 3 laps and they were fucking done because they were just so useless with the heat.
Yeah.
But on
Yeah,
that,
they all ran in the race. They all ran hards and mediums.
yeah, but on that sprint shootout, like the times that everyone put in were really impressive, and they were legitimately all within like a quarter of a second of each other.
Really?
Like those top 10 cars were really close. It was just a little bit of those minute kind of problems they run into.
Yeah.
So the Red Bulls weren't fast on the sprint because they can't. They can't get those tires warm within 10 laps.
Well, and where they're lacking is downforce.
Yeah, exactly. Downforce
So-
and tire grip.
Yeah. So, well, if you're lacking in downforce, any deficiency in tire grip is going to be exacerbated.
Right. But they make up for it after 10 laps,
Yeah.
which is what I like about the sprint, because the sprint's about 17. So for the first 10 laps in the sprint race, that race is really interesting. If you can get ahead by just enough, you can beat them on the sprint race.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that's only 6 races out of 23 that you're going to be able to get some
Well,
points.
and you say that, but the first sprint race was won by a Red Bull car.
Yeah, that's because Checo's a beast.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
I want Checo to win a fucking championship. I need Max to stop being a dick.
so the sprint race is basically a different format for qualifiers 1, 2, and
So
3.
no, so they changed it, right? So
It no longer affects the qualifying for the race.
Yeah, so you qualify on Friday for the race on Sunday.
Okay.
And then you do a sprint shootout qualifier for the sprint race on Saturday, because 3 days of practice is boring as shit. And they want people to watch more Formula One.
Sure.
What I don't think they expected was for it to be as popular as it was viewership wise, because viewership was almost the exact same as the race Sunday.
Well,
which-
they also picked the right year for it, because
Yeah, it's true too.
this year the races are pretty bland.
They are pretty bland. You know,
It's- The Red Bull cars, no matter where they start, by the time you hit the halfway point, charging up to the front and playing basic strategy to win the race.
I mean, you could not watch a race, get up and then look at the results, and be like, oh, if the Red Bulls are more than 20 seconds ahead, and like 2 people didn't finish, you don't have to watch that race.
yeah.
Because it legitimately is just 2 hours of you watching the Red Bull car in the front. Every lap go a second faster than everyone else, and
Yeah.
it's just boring.
Well, I mean, that was this last race.
Miami was pretty
when
boring.
Verstappen finally pitted, he was almost 19 seconds ahead of Checo.
Yeah, and you were like, oh, maybe he's gonna
And he was almost 40 seconds ahead of Alonso.
let Checo go ahead, and he did for about 2 whole turns, and then he was like, nah, I'm gonna take the lead.
Yeah.
And you're like,
By the
"Damn
way,
it."
your tires suck.
Yeah. Yeah, why would you pit again? You can't, because I'm the world champion and you're not.
Yeah.
Know your role, shut your mouth. It's just not fair, though, because I want Checo to win.
I mean, he looks really good, but
Well, here's the thing, though. I did the math, okay? If Checo wins all the sprint races, okay, that's an extra 8 points each race.
yeah.
So that's 40 more points he would get. And if he knocks out a couple of fastest laps, that's like 50 points he can get just on his own. If he keeps driving in second and gets a couple more firsts, I think he can do it.
I mean, I would love nothing more than for this championship to be up in the air between the 2 Red Bull cars getting to Vegas.
Oh, yeah. Well, you want it too. You want, because you want to see him win Mexico.
Yeah.
That's the one you really want. Like, he needs to win Mexico. And I know it's never going to be as good as that one year that the race was decided in Brazil, legitimately on the last lap.
Yeah.
And that was the one where Ferrari won. And they're all celebrating and they're hooting and hollering. And you're like, oh, but if Lewis Hamilton comes in 7th or higher, he wins the world championship. And the guy in 7th place had tires that were just useless. He couldn't go faster. And then all of a sudden, here comes Lewis. And he passed the guy in 7th. And then he passed the guy in 6th. And he crosses the finish line. And everybody went, holy shit. Lewis Hamilton just won the world championship by a point. And the entire Ferrari garage, who had spent the last 30 seconds celebrating, looks like they all just died.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I miss that Formula One for sure. That's the good stuff.
Yeah, this year, like, you're pretty much relegated to watching the people fighting for all the other spots.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, look at Lando Norris, right? Lando Norris, good kid, had that 6-year deal with McLaren. Now, if you're paying me $30 million a year to drive for your car, I don't care.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's like 22. He wants to be a world champion. And he's stuck with McLaren. And when you watch Drive to Survive, you realize that they're very comfortable being like, 3rd, 4th best constructor. And
Yeah,
they're not even pushing for world champion. Like, fuck that.
I mean, it was like they were disappointed because they lost to Alpine last year
Yeah,
in the constructors
in the Constructors' Championship.
for 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you should be disappointed for other reasons.
There's 3 more spaces you should be disappointed at. I want blood. I want to be fucking first.
Yeah.
Like, at least Gunther Steiner lies when he's on Formula One and drives 5. He's like, I think this year we're going to be more competitive. It's going to be good for us. And you're like, yes, thank you, Gunther. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. He's like, if one day we go to the front, it's going to be good. You're like, yeah, whatever he said.
Yeah.
Gunther's got it. He's good.
You know he's lying. Don't care.
Doesn't matter. He's
Shut your
genuine.
mouth.
He's fine. He's very friendly. And then they crash. What the fuck are they doing? Every time I see a Haas car crash, I just hear his voice Go, what the fuck? You know how much this car costs us?
Oy.
Yeah, it crashes.
All right. We've talked about some pretty good stuff tonight. What do we talk about next week? What do you want to taste for? What kind of flight do you want to do next week?
Oh, I don't know. Something that doesn't burn as bad as. You know. Do you have anything that's not of the highest horsepower of bourbon?
Yeah, we can do some low proof
Yeah,
stuff.
low proof. I want some flavor,
Okay.
not just burny.
Burn.
I know what you're talking about. Those were fantastic.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'll figure something. I'll figure out some low proof stuff.
All right, I appreciate that.
So next week, actually, I've been watching Seinfeld. He did an interview with Eddie Murphy, and so it's like they got into some of the classic comedians. You know, who really set the stage or was in the infancy of being stand-up comedians.
Did you just now watch that episode of In Cars with Coffee?
Well, no, this wasn't In Cars with Coffee. This was something different.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there was a moderator that was asking them questions.
Oh,
and stuff.
okay.
And it was on a stage, and it was really interesting because they did not mention Shecky Green, who was a comedian. They did not mention Jonathan Winters, but they did mention Rip Torn. They mentioned Red Fox.
Red Fox, the Godfather.
Yeah. They really didn't talk about Richard Pryor much as they did other comedians.
I mean, there's not much to say at this point about Richard Pryor. He's Richard Pryor.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Was Red Fox the one who, at the end of his career, was in a lawsuit and he would like waste entire stand-up acts up on stage ranting about his lawsuit and what happened that week? And was that Red Fox?
No, that was what's his name? Paul Mooney.
Okay.
That's Paul Mooney.
Okay.
Because Paul Mooney basically just told the world that everybody stole his stuff.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
there was another.
Everybody stole my material.
there was
You all stole my material.
There was another comedian that they mentioned that I hadn't thought of in a long time, but Flip Wilson. You know, and it's kind of
Oh, there you go.
He could never not do the character Geraldine when he was doing his stand-up. You know who was kind of stand-up, but he was also part of the Rat Pack, was Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. But
Yeah,
also
they
had-
wrote most of the stage stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, here I am talking about comedians, and I was going to do it next week. You
We'll
know?
write it down. We'll talk. I'll talk.
Yeah, we'll do
comedians with you all day.
comedians next week.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
'cause,
want to talk comedians?
And I was thinking, Casey, you have more of a line on the more recent guys.
I could talk about any generation of comedian you want to.
Okay. I mean, because
I know all the good Red Fox jokes.
I wasn't impressed with Chris Rock's recent stand-up after the slap. It didn't grab me.
I don't know. I mean, his early stuff grabbed me,
Yeah.
but it faded for me really fast.
Oh, okay.
Well, we'll talk about it. There's a change for comedians.
Yeah.
That's actually been very apparent.
Okay.
We'll do some notes. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, we
be
got
fun.
comedians. We got no F1 next time.
No F1.
Golf? You got any golf?
No.
No,
At some
golf.
point, the PGA Championship's coming up this month, but I don't know when. It's like the lowest of the majors.
And Tiger's not in, so who cares?
Is he not in?
I thought he's getting that surgery
I
for his ankle.
I've been paying attention.
I think he's getting surgery again.
Yeah.
He's
I wouldn't
stepping out.
doubt it.
Yeah, I think he blew his ankle out, so we're not gonna see Tiger for a while.
Pardon the pun, but he's kind of stepping out.
Oh man. That's-
Oh my God. I think on that
talk
note,
about a bogey.
I think on that note, we're done.
Talking about his bogey.
We're stepping out.
That's a hazard if I've ever heard one.
All right. You guys good?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time.
I'm Lane. It's Casey and Will. You know where to find us.